welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
I'm Christopher Hughes.
I'm Bobby Trippett.
You gotta give the longest intro I've ever heard.
He hates when I use my full name.
Every time you do that.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is 1973, right?
1974, I thought.
73 in the
73,
UK. Yeah.
The one online was 74 because it's the same year as, what's it called?
And today we're talking about 1973's Psychomania.
Hearing me sitting down.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky got no field coach.
Hello, Mr. Man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
You could have been decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
So, Hughes, before I finally got out that fucking line, you had to say, oh, no, it's 1974. Well, you are not wrong.
Fuck yeah.
The movie was released in 1973 in the UK and West Germany, but a year later it was released in the US under the title The Death Wheelers, which is what it's called in the USA market, which is a way worse name.
Yeah,
than
not nearly
Psychomania.
as good of a title.
I guess they couldn't use The Living Dead because it's used in so many other things.
In America.
It's the same type font as The Living Dead, isn't it?
I don't know. This was what surprised me, though. The movie's rated PG.
Well, they had different rating systems back then, too, right?
Yeah, like you can just call it, you know how they have BC?
Yeah.
For which I guess they call Before Christ or something, or is what I was always told that that's supposed to be.
BCE is now before Common Era.
Okay,
No, before crunchy cereal.
but you can just call it BS, which is PG and PG-13 before Short Round was PG, and then as soon as Temple of Doom came out, they came out with PG-13 because they were like, oh, this is not for children.
Mm-hmm.
So. For now on, I'd like everybody to use that BS before Short Round. Okay?
I like it.
Severin Films has released a restored print in 2010, but now it is owned by Arrow Films. I believe you own this copy, the Blu-ray.
I absolutely do.
Yep.
It's
Cool.
wonderful.
Cool.
Just released February 22nd, 2017. Go pick up your fresh copy
Cool.
of Psychomania. Great music in this film, by the way. You can also go pick up the soundtrack for this, which, Bobby, you actually gave to Chris as a gift.
It is lovely. Love it, love it, love it. It's funny because I listened to the soundtrack before I saw the movie. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea what to make of it. I'm like, am I going to dance? You know? But I loved it. No, and I saw the film. I'm like, oh, it goes well with it. It's got a cool, macabre...
Did it come with the heroin?
We did that before we played it.
It's very dreamlike.
Yeah.
So now you enjoy the soundtrack more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it before, then I like it even more.
Yeah, the music in this movie is awesome. I've been listening to it all week, preparing for this episode, which not everybody in this room feels the same way about this movie, and I am so excited about that. Just a little bit of trivia. Bobby might have more than me, though. All I have was that this film was pretty much universally panned upon its release by critics. One reviewer from the London Times wrote that the film was only fit to be shown at an SS reunion party.
And
Which
that's a bit much.
Yeah, that's...
I don't think it was that offensive.
It's the boots,
No,
isn't it?
Not at all.
But the film has gained a cult following over time. Do you have any other trivia stuff before I get in the crew cast here?
Regarding the making of, well, a couple things in that the lead actor, Nicky Henson, thought that this was utter crap. He agrees with the critics. And did it because he thought no one would end up seeing it. And like so many other actors and so many other movies in this genre that we follow, I guess the joke's on him.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I read that quote and I was like, well, that's funny because now that I've gone through your IMDb profile, there's a lot of other movies that I got written down that you might not want people to know you were in. So that's an interesting one. So let's get into the crew here. Don Sharp, the director of this movie. Now, I haven't written down credits. Instead, I have a bio. It is not by our favorite man, Woody Anders, but it's by a man named Frank Fobb 2 at yahoo.com.
Send him an email.
Someone still uses Yahoo? Or is this older? Like, this has to be like early 2000s, the 90s when this review was.
I have no idea.
Oh,
It just says IMDb mini bio by
All right.
Don Sharp was born on the island of Tasmania, off of Australia, and began his show business career there as an actor. After World War II, he traveled to England and continued his acting career. He became a director in the mid-1950s and turned out some low and medium-budget musicals, such as the Tommy Steele vehicle The Dream Maker in 1963. In the mid-60s, he was hired by horror specialist Hammer Films and turned out some well-received thrillers, including The Kiss of the Vampire in 1963, his first for Hammer. He worked on a few films as second-unit director, most notably Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines, or How I Fell from London to Paris in 25 hours, 11 minutes. That's the full title of that movie. You want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines, or How I Flew from London to Paris in 25 hours, 11 minutes.
Cool.
Actual runtime.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 25 hours and 11 minutes of a guy on a plane. Just being like, yeah, that's how I got here.
Well, the rudder is out, so he keeps flying in a circle.
He meets multiple passengers, and he just tells them the same story over and over and over again. You just hear it like 50 times.
It's like watching speed dating.
Before returning to directing again, and turned out a string of thrillers, horror films, and comedies. Towards the end of his career, he worked in television and on miniseries. And I'd like to say a little bit of trivia that this is not the first Don Sharp film to feature frogs in cemeteries, pacts with the devil, mysterious suicides, and the living dead. They are also motifs in an earlier film he made called Witchcraft in 1964.
You know, it's important to have a signature.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen that movie?
I have not yet.
No.
I'm wondering if it's just like an earlier version of Psychomania or something.
They're
Yeah.
on bicycles.
Because I read that before I watched the movie, and now I'm like, wait a second. It's literally the same, the same motifs, the same movie, really.
Really? Yeah, it is. Well, this is almost like this feels like a prequel to Flatliners almost.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, which they're remaking, by the way.
Really?
What?
They're remaking Flatliners. They've already done it. It's coming out
Oh,
soon.
God damn it.
Psychomania?
Zac Efron?
I'm
Now he's
sure
doing
it
the
is.
Ted Bundy movie, actually.
I read that too.
Yeah, I'm actually turned on to that. I like.
You're turned on by that?
I'm like. I said to that, not by that. Yes, I like Zephron, but you know.
You're ready to get in the van already.
Then we have 2 writers on this movie, not 3, so it's not a real pile of shit. There's only 2 writers, so that means quality. Julian Zimmett, credited as Julian Halvey, who's one of the writers. I wrote, this is the last movie they ever wrote. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a man. But with a name like Julian, I could not find a picture, so I have no idea. 16 writing credits in total. 1964, Circus World with John Wayne. Is that a John Wayne movie you've seen?
I have not seen that.
Is that anything like Westworld?
No, it's about like John Wayne running a traveling circus or
I was
that
something.
the
hoping
one-
John Wayne would
Yeah,
play
I
like
wonder if that's the black
evil
and white.
robot clown chasing some guy.
I wonder if that's the black and white circus movie that the American Horror Story is based on.
It might be. It looks like a real pile of shit. There was only 80 reviews for it on IMDb. That must be the lost John Wayne movie. Yeah. So, he also made a movie in 1967 called Custer of the West with Robert Shaw. I'm going to read you the description of this one. George Armstrong Custer's love of the heroic traditions of the cavalry and his distaste with the coming of industrialization leads him to his destiny at Little Bighorn. Yes, this is a rewriting of history on the epic saga, apparently, of Little Bighorn.
You wrote a prequel to Little Bighorn?
Oh, no, this is where we try and paint Custer as an American hero.
Oh,
boy.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was, I was reading it, and a lot of people are like, yeah, this is, it's an interesting movie, but not at all historically accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So, want to maybe check out.
It was the Panzer tank that gave it away that he wrote in on.
I think, I don't even know how they would rewrite the story of Custer. They're like, no. Those Indians killed themselves.
Yeah, they shot straight up into the air and the arrows came back down. Those stupid Indians.
Crazy savages.
We gave them those blankets. We had no idea they had smallpox in them. How are we supposed to know? 1968, A Place for Lovers, which had Faye Dunaway in it. And 1972, a movie called Horror Express. Horror, not whore, with
Aw.
Christopher Lee.
It's a different kind of train.
I thought it was curious that he wrote this film considering his background and the level of talent he had typically worked with. And this was his last movie he ever wrote.
Went out on top.
I
Wow.
guess so. The other writer, oh boy, this is a name. Arnaud
Arnaud.
de
Yeah.
Ucio.
Yeah.
Nailed
Denucio.
He only has 11 writing credits, including writing Horror Express with the last writer. 1941, Lady Sacrifice. 1942, The Man Who Wouldn't Die. And 1944, now I like this one, Tomorrow, the World.
And more.
German boy Emil comes to live with his American uncle, who tries to teach the former Hitler youth to reject Nazism.
Oh, man.
Now,
What a concept!
This is such a buddy comedy I've ever heard one.
I wrote, do you think it's a comedy? And I was like, do you think the kid starts doing Nazi stuff? And he's like, not again.
Yeah.
Swatting at his arm. Like, no.
Leave that Jew alone.
He sits on his porch on Saturdays and screams at the neighbors. Why are you walking? Why don't you get in the car?
Do you think he does a lot of like goose stepping around class and like all sorts of weird Nazi things?
Yeah.
It's like, this is a movie I think I need to see.
There was supposed to be like a sitcom based on Hitler. It was called like My Sweet Hitler or something like that. Or
Mine father?
Or, like it was like supposed to be like
Mine Three Sons.
No, I swear to God, it was some network was trying to boot like their own series.
This
and
is
it
a
was,
real
like,
thing someone was
Yeah, it was a
trying to
real
do?
thing, and it was
Wow.
like a like Three's Company with Adolf Hitler.
In the Jack Tripper role?
Basically,
Like
yeah.
there's somebody that
There's a
runs
blonde girl and a Jewish girl.
There was, yeah. There's like I think the
my
family next
God.
door were Jewish.
Like Ava runs in at one point and she goes, Hitler, there's no more gas. And he's like, oh.
You said it. Okay. It was called Heil Honey, I'm Home. Just found it.
Wow.
Canceled after only one episode.
Wow. I wonder why.
I smell a mini bin.
We didn't even get to meet Herr Roper.
Oh my God. Like you have all the high up SS members as like neighbors and
Yeah.
stuff.
Gables delivers the mail.
You got like the Wilson from Home Improvement, but it's just the helmet sticking up over the fence.
They're like,
Yeah.
Goebbels is coming for dinner and the pie fell on the floor. Oh no!
Yeah.
Do you think in this Nazi show there was any point, like the old joke with kids where they're like reading a book and then the teacher lifts it and there's a comic underneath or something? Do you think maybe the kid was reading a comic and she lifted up and there's like a Mein Kampf underneath?
I wouldn't be surprised.
And she just gives him a scolding like,
Probably.
When did this air?
yeah, that's
Okay.
a good
I'm
question.
looking
Can we get some trivia on this?
Yes, this was conceptualized 1990.
I was gonna say the 90s
Yeah.
were very racist.
They were like, well, it's been long enough.
Yeah.
bygones be bygones. We can make
Wait,
fun
didn't
of
the
it now.
wall come down like right then?
That's what they said. They were like, well, the wall's down.
You know what we need?
Here's
The Berlin
all right.
Wall has fallen.
Here's the synopsis. Heil Honey, I'm Home is a British sitcom written by George Atkinson and produced in 1990 that was canceled after one episode.
Right.
It centers around a fictionalized version of Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun, who live next door to a Jewish couple, Arnie and Rosa Goldstein. The show spoofs elements of mid-20th century American sitcoms and is driven by Hitler's inability to get along with his neighbors. It caused controversy when broadcast and has been called perhaps the worst, most tasteless comedy ever.
Wow.
How did this get on the air?
That's a Family Guy cutaway.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
all that is.
well.
That went through script writing. Then the people went.
Oh, yeah.
They sat down through it. They
God.
produced a pilot. Then they said, "We're going to air this."
Yeah, I mean,
There's so many people that checked off boxes.
That was on at no fewer than 4 desks
Hughes, this
before
made
it
it
got
through.
filmed.
This made it through upfronts. Like this made.
Yeah, there's
it through-
actually like a promo flyer that says it's 1938 and in Berlin, Adolf and Eva live in a small apartment block, but who are the couple next door? A very funny show from Noel Gay Television Limited.
You think he's like cutting his hedge and then it just goes to him? He's got the big bug eyes.
Do you think there was a live studio audience for that?
There was. They have tickets right here.
Oh my god.
Oh my! We really need to track this down. Like
It's on
must
YouTube.
exist.
The first
oh,
episode's on
perfect.
YouTube.
There
Yeah.
will be a mini
Yeah.
bit on this
Yeah.
one. There
Yeah.
definitely will be.
Absolutely.
Are we all dressing up as characters from the show?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Dibs on
good.
Ava.
George Sanders, who plays Shadwell. We're getting to the cast now.
Yes, Shadwell.
Now Shadwell, we're gonna start with him.
Let's start on the high note.
A very accomplished actor, known for playing charming bad guys. This was his final feature film. Now let's get in a little bit of his background here. 1940, he was in the movie Rebecca. 1945, The Picture of Dorian Gray. 1950, All About Eve. 1967, boy, he was in The Jungle Book. He played Shere Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
So that was Shadwell in this movie. He has 136 credits on IMDb. Now here we go. There's a little bit of a twist, however, with George Sanders. Sanders told David Niven in 1937 that he intended to commit suicide when he got older. In 1972, he fulfilled his promise, leaving this note: "Dear world, I am leaving because I am bored. I feel I have lived long enough. I am leaving you with your worries in this sweet cesspool. Good luck."
Man.
So he made this movie and he's like, that's it. Goodbye.
Wow.
Now, do you think he took this role because of his plan, or this role reminded him of his plan?
I mean, it must have, because
Wow.
it's really sad to think about it.
I don't know
but
if you
it
had
must
this
have
in your
played a
notes,
part.
what was going on in his life up to that point. He had a loved one pass away. He himself had a stroke. He was suffering from dementia. And then he's
Good
doing
God.
this movie that's romanticizing suicide, and he could easily have just been like, you know what, you're right.
Like, he showed up to set and he was like, that sounds good.
I just got to believe it, huh?
Am I wrapped? Thank you. And then just walks
Yeah.
right off that bridge.
I read that he never got to see this movie.
I don't think he'd
finished-
want to.
He wouldn't have wanted to. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he finished filming and then just done.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, I'm playing a butler now.
It's
So-
like Ray Combs' last episode of the Family Feud. Have you ever seen that? He just walks off set instead of hanging out and celebrating.
Jesus.
And he just, like, takes a noose out of his pocket.
More or less. So, like, that's an interesting episode if you look at that, because he calls one of the contestants a loser at one point. He just doesn't give a shit.
His survey says, fuck you, when he walks
God
off.
The
damn.
second that episode's done, he just walks right away.
You know, I've done this show for 6 years, and this could be the first time that I had a person that actually got no points, and I think it's a damn fine way to go out. Thought I was a loser till you walked up here. You made me feel like a man, Ken. Give me your hand. Back to Ray. Thank you, Gene, for the feud. I'm Ray Combs. See you next time.
So Beryl Reed, who plays Mrs. Latham, who's his the mom, accomplished actor in stage and screen. She actually won a Tony Award and then went on to be nominated for a Golden Globe in the movie adaptation of it in 1968's The Killing of Sister George. She was most known, however, for her comedy roles and as a comedic actress. I just only have 2 credits. Was 1968 Star with a exclamation point. In 1972, Dr. Phibes Rises Again. Then we get Nicky Henson, who plays Tom Latham. 107 credits on IMDb. He is still steadily working today. He's in both movies and TV for decades. 1968, The Conqueror Worm. 1970, There's a Girl in My Soup with Peter Sellers and Goldie Hawn. I thought it would be more fun, but it was just a Peter Sellers movie. 1973, Anyone for Sex? Question mark. It's about a woman deciding that she doesn't want kids, so she takes the pill. And apparently in 1973, this was a bad thing, and she takes all sort of shit from it, from the Pope.
Personally?
The Pope just shows up.
Like, the Pope gives her shit for taking the pill.
What do you like? Calls her like, ring, ring. I know what you did.
He's knocking on her uterus, being like, "Where's the kid?"
Spit it out into my hand. Come on.
Like, look at the poster for it. It's like 3 ladies, like on one side of a door, and the Pope just like crossing his arms on the other.
Who plays the Pope?
I don't know.
He's mad because it wasn't him.
Well, he did fuck her. He just he was mad the kid didn't come out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I want to make a movie called The Fucking Pope, where
The fucking Pope.
A fucking Pope.
yeah,
There's
he
different emphasis
yeah,
on
the
fucking.
Pope.
Yeah, so that it makes.
And he has of course, a short round type character that falls around and
Uh-huh.
goes, "No time for love, Dr. Pope."
Dr. Pope.
Oh boy.
Well, he mostly did TV during the 80s and 90s, but he was in 2005 Syriana, and he was in a 2011 movie called Blitz with Jason Statham I've never heard of. And then you already mentioned that BBC interview, so we don't need to get into that. You guys got anything else before we get in to the movie today? Oh, by the way, let's take a listen to the trailer.
They were just ordinary troublemakers as long as they lived. But they returned from beyond the grave with superhuman powers, unleashing an unholy reign of terror that holds an entire community in the grip of psychomania. Psychomania.
Everybody dies, don't they? But some come back. How do the dead come back, Mother?
When you die, you've got to believe that you're going to come back.
Farewell, Mother! Have you kill yourself?
That's right! Off the bridge! I'm going! You can only die once. After that, nothing and nobody can harm you.
Oh man, what are we waiting for?
I must stop him.
You can't.
I must.
Psychomania.
What happened? You're not dead.
That's what I was trying to tell you, Tom. I don't want to die.
Get after them!
And you know what you will become?
Yes.
And that it will be for all eternity.
You can only die once. After that, nothing and nobody can harm you.
Psychomania.
So we get in the movie, guys. We start well, it's supposed to be a graveyard, but for now on, for the rest of the episode, I'm going to call this mini henge. Because
Mini Stonehenge.
Very Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
It's very much a mini Stonehenge. I do have a question about what these mini henge statues could be, and we'll bring that up at the end.
I think it's revealed.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we figured that out.
Yeah.
So we get these bikers riding around. The credits roll. We get that great music that's playing underneath us right now, and then we cut to these bikers. So the Living Dead gang, and they have some bizarre helmets. I don't even know how to explain them. You'll have to see some of the pictures we post.
Yeah, they've painted a skull and bones on the helmet so that they're looking out the eyes of the skull. It's pretty amazing. And the rest of their outfit is essentially take the Ramones and then let a junior high cheerleading squad get at them with the paint, because they've got their logo on the back in like bright pink.
Oh, and they all have their names written on the front of their jackets, just so in case you want to commit a crime, they do know who
exactly.
And
the
it's very large print.
It might be legible.
Well, they're gonna be driving by real fast on their bikes. You want to be able to read it.
Yeah.
Now, did you catch all the names?
Okay, so I know Chopped Meat.
There's Chopped Meat.
Hatchet.
There's Hatchet.
Hatchet is my favorite character in the
Hatchet's
movie,
the
by
best.
the way.
Hatchet's amazing. There's Bertram. Hinky. He's got his stuff written vertically, like it's made in little lights. The women are Abby and Jane.
Yeah, the women for some reason don't have creative names, which.
Well, neither does Bertram or Tom. Really, I feel like only Hatchet and Chopped Meat were taking this seriously.
Yeah, Tom. That's what he just has written. Our main character just writes Tom and like a little bit of blood. He's got the worst name of everybody. I wish they would have switched it around. I would have wanted another Hatchet or something.
Should he have been
that.
Hinky?
Hinky's a pretty shitty name too.
Hinky's a serial killer, isn't it?
I don't. Hinky used to be the GM of the 76ers. That's all I know. So they're riding around on their bikes, and these guys, they just like to cause trouble. Now, whether or not they're an actual biker gang or just a few local misfits, we'll find out. Although by this scene, though, they are a pretty rough gang, I guess, if they meant to do this. Is that they like start chasing around some guy in a truck.
Yeah.
And then Tom says to Abby, who's his girlfriend, he's like, "Hey, you want to go mess with this guy?" And she's like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah, he says, should we blow his mind? Are you game, Abby?
So I thought they meant like they're gonna like blow his head off or something. Like they were being like really.
Well, close enough.
Yeah.
Kind of what they end
in
up
a way,
getting.
yeah.
They play
Yeah.
chicken with him, and then somehow he crashes.
I think it's a taxi driver.
Yeah, it was a black cab.
That's one of those British taxis.
It's black cab.
Black cab.
Some of the best people in this movie are the extras, like especially people driving cars. Like later on the movie, we'll get this one guy who's probably the most British man alive. But this guy, okay, so they just kind of play chicken with him, and they go on either side, and he somehow crashes. Now, does he like crash into a tree?
They
or
force
something?
him to slam his brakes so hard that he flies through his windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No seatbelt.
Like, and also his windshield is like a Model A or something. It's like a coffee table. He just flies through it, and I guess he's dead.
Yeah, I would assume
I
so.
would guess.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell, but yeah.
I don't know, but the next thing we go is to Tom and Abby make it out in a barn, right? And I do love
A
this.
barn. They're in a graveyard.
Oh, they're in a graveyard now?
Yeah.
I thought it was
in like a barn right now.
with like hay and stuff.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
graveyard at night.
No, they're making out amongst the tombstones.
Yeah.
Oh, it looked
Yeah.
like a room to me.
Yeah, it looked like
okay.
yeah.
But I do love this. So they're
I
making
mean,
out.
most of this movie was shot on sets. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Well.
they shot it indoors, but it's supposed to be a graveyard.
Okay, so they're in the graveyard making out, and I do like this. It's all going well until Tom brings out his big toad.
Yeah, he like sees something and then he jumps on it and it's
Yeah,
a
catches
frog.
his eye and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hello, green friend."
And he grabs this toad, and she says, she's looking at him, she's like, "This happens all the time." It's like, God damn it, Tom, every time.
What she says to him is that she says, "You're not human," first of all.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you scare me, and he responds with, "It's not me that scares you, it's the world." And then he puts the frog in his jacket like he's pocketing an envelope.
Yeah.
She's like, "Quit pulling out your toad, pull out your dick, Tom. Let's get going, huh?"
I mean,
What am I, chopped meat?
And this scene's
And what is he doing here?
This scene's the second scene of talking in the movie, and it's only like the first 3 minutes, or well, 8 minutes after that intro. But there he goes right into the suicide pact talk, like
Yeah.
right away.
Oh yeah,
Well-
the let's cross over.
Yeah, but this is the best part is Abby looks at him and she goes, "Oh, Tom, not that again." Like, this just comes up every day. She's like, "Oh my God, here we go again, talking about killing ourselves."
Can't we just have sex once?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come on, Abby, let's do it. Let's do it tonight." She's like, "Tom, I got to go help my mom shop tomorrow." It's like any other day. Come on. Can we wait till Friday?
Tax day at least.
So then we go. This all ends. They don't have sex.
No, it's just done. He cut to a scene. Cut to the next scene.
I think maybe like Tom's not afraid of anything except sex. That might be, I'm serious.
That's what this all comes down to.
So we go to Tom's house and we learn that he lives in some insane 70s style mansion.
It's awesome.
I mean, this thing looks like the set of like if you took 2001 Spaceship and threw in the milk bar.
Oh,
from
yeah.
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, the Corova, yeah.
Yeah, like it just looks fucking crazy. I mean, like, it's one of those great 70s houses where, like, the couch is the room. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, instead of having a mantle, it's just, like, on your fireplace, the whole room is, like, a couch mantle.
Yeah, love it.
And there's, okay, Tom walks
I want to
in.
live there.
Oh, totally.
Did you guys notice what he put this toad into?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
like a cake pedestal?
yeah.
I put it as the aggro crag.
No. What the fuck movie are you watching? It was just it was a cake dome.
Yeah, it was a clear cake cover.
No, it is like a fucking, like, there's this
When he
thing
goes
in
into
the
the
middle
next
of the
room.
room.
That's later.
That's later.
Oh, later.
I swear to you,
in
it's-
this first scene, he just
Yeah.
puts it under on the counter under a cake thing, and that's when
Okay.
Shadwell comes
And,
in.
and Jeeves comes in and goes,
Okay,
And they
but
start checking
later,
out the frog and talking about it. Later, he
Yeah.
puts it under
He
like
will-
in the aggro crag.
They
thing.
have an aggro crag in their living room. My dream. This guy's just got it like as a fucking, I don't know what it is. Like,
It's a terrarium.
yeah, well, it does. Yeah, it does fit a toad in it. So
But we have this thing on the counter, but then we also have this like lady and the seance going on. and then they're like sobbing, and you hear this old lady with like a little kid's
She's
voice.
speaking with a child's voice.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it.
That's his mom doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What fucking
Jesus
movie did
Christ,
you
I
watch?
didn't even notice this. She's doing a seance with a child's voice?
Yeah, she's speaking with a child's voice. She's
Oh.
possessed by like some street urchin kid from decades earlier.
I just thought she was being a weirdo.
And she's bullshit.
She
And
likes
that area looks like every ride at Disneyland occupied the same space because she's sitting there with the crystal ball at the table, but she's got like Space Mountain behind her on the wall.
Yeah, the stars behind her. Like, this is really spacey.
and there's like a trumpet going on.
Like
and
she's
the whole thing's
reenacting like a
floating.
Miss Cleo ad.
Yeah.
It's just a star field and a crystal ball.
The Dapper
Ring
Dans.
the bell.
And so then the mom's like, "Oh, Tom, you're home." And then they dance around the room together. And she's like, "Tom, I'm worried about you. Are you up to your old tricks again? You might get arrested." And he brings up this thing about killing himself again. He's like, "Mom, it's okay. But by the way, I do want to kill myself. Can you tell me that secret about killing myself?" And she's like, "No, Tom, no." And at this point, you don't really know what the fuck is going on.
We don't know who anybody is.
No. And he does ask the mom, he goes, "Hey, Mom, do you know anybody that's rose from the dead?" And at this point, I write, "I don't think so, man." But I have no idea what this family's all about.
No.
So
And prior to this, he does have a brief conversation with Shadwell when they're checking out the frog, and he has 3 important questions to ask Shadwell.
And what is that?
One was, why did my father die in that locked room? 2 is, why do you never get any older? And 3 is, what is the secret of the living dead? And the second he asks that third intense question, like to put an exclamation point, he suddenly bites into this big-ass sandwich we didn't know he was holding.
Yeah, like, it was out of nowhere. Like, craft services like threw it in his hand. Like,
He brought his
Framed
dinner
like
to
a
set.
foot-long sub is suddenly in his hand. He's like, so what's the deal with this living dead thing?
takes a giant ass bite.
And the additional part of that conversation is they're talking about how old the frog is.
Yeah, they're explaining that
And I'm like, I
it's a
didn't-
special
Wait.
kind of frog. It's Maximus leopardus, which are only found in graveyards.
So wait, this frog, he found this frog tonight, and then he brings it home?
He brings he brings it home that night, and Shadwell knows all about this frog.
Oh,
And it's
I
over
thought-
100 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought he brought the frog with him to the graveyard. Like, this was his friend
No,
that he
just
brings
found
around.
it.
And at the culmination of, we got to mention too, at the culmination of that seance, the family that was getting the seance attempts to give a gift because Tom's mother won't accept payment. And what they have is this jewel-encrusted cross, and Shadwell loses his shit.
Because that jewel-encrusted cross is actually like a... at least in Fable, it's very, very, very religious and super praised on, and like from the Pope himself.
Yeah,
he
it-
pooped
yeah.
it.
And Shadwell's not having it. He's like, you get the fuck out.
So this was
Don't bring this here.
this was the Pope's family?
Yeah, this is the Pope's family.
That was the Pope's voice she was speaking with. There's a child Pope in this universe.
You think he was the fucking Pope? Or
That's what this all comes down to.
He fucked that little kid to death and wanted to hear about it.
Yeah,
in his
he might have.
seance. He's like, hey, so did you like it before I killed you?
We did have Nazi Pope. Why can't we have fucking Pope, you know? Come on.
We still have to do the stolen Pope.
Oh, I can't wait. We are definitely doing Gonna with the Pope.
Yeah, damn right.
So-
Can't wait for that.
So she's dancing with the mom. And,
Yeah, okay. And then we do find out that the dad has been dead for 18 years.
And that room has been locked since that happened.
So he said the dad died in that room. Did they just go like, well, he's dead, lock the door?
Yeah.
And then they're like, boy, it's going to smell in there.
It's like when you're playing The Sims and you kill off your own characters and just like kind of board it up and wait for the ghost to appear.
Like they wait for the next owners. Like they're like, they're going to get a real kick out of this one.
Did they have a supernatural pack for The Sims?
I don't know.
They need it.
I didn't. I
That'd be
never.
awesome.
I played the first one. I never played it again.
Got a little exorcism going on. Someone rising up off a bed.
That would be a cool add-on. I would play it then.
Yeah, they
All
had
the
the
horror
toad
tropes would be
room and the
amazing.
magic
Yeah.
mirror and everything, Hughes.
God, these mirror rooms.
Okay, so
So he asks about what the secret is. And Shadwell produces this necklace. Is
oh
that
well,
where you're
hold
going? I
on.
don't mean to jump. Go
Before we
ahead.
get to that,
I'm like hijacking
the mom
your
says
thing.
like, all right, well the cops did call. She says the fuzz called, and he goes, "You want to know why the fuzz called, mother? We blew a fellow's mind. We sent him right through the windscreen. Just wait till you see what we have planned for tomorrow night."
He's
I
going to
did
blow
like-
2 guys.
So, yeah, okay, go ahead. He's
So after bragging about murdering a man and claiming that he's going to do it again, he says again, so what's the secret? And that's when Shadwell produces this necklace of great importance. It's sort of a sun with a little plastic frog on it. I get the impression that Shadwell got this after a long day playing skee ball.
yeah, it does look like some sort of carnival prize.
You don't know how long it took me to save these tickets.
I honestly don't think that pendant has anything to do with what's going to happen.
I couldn't tell if the pendant was there's some kind of mythos behind it that we don't, like there's some satanic thing about frogs in graveyards that we don't have the knowledge of.
It was never touched upon.
It was never told about in this movie, but maybe it was like common knowledge outside the movie.
We don't find out until Flatliners.
Right.
Okay.
No, I think it's just like that shitty Robert Redford movie with the lightning bat, and then when it breaks, he's like, "It was all me all along."
Oh, The Natural?
I'm a 6-year-old man who plays baseball. Yeah, fucking sucks.
Stick to golf.
Okay, so basically, he does this thing, though, where he, like, I don't know what the fuck happens where... Is this the part when he does that thing where, like, he kind of, like, slinks to the back of the room and then the mom and Shadwell talk, or is this later?
I think
that happens later.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where he comes
He
with the
puts the
frog.
necklace on, and then he goes in the locked room.
Okay, so he goes into that room that hasn't been opened
They
in
give
18
him the necklace
years.
and the key to the locked room.
Yeah. Now, the room hasn't been opened in 18 years. It smells horrible
I would have
inside
assumed,
there.
yeah.
It must. Those corduroy walls must have absorbed a lot of stench.
He looks around, and then he realizes the door has disappeared, and now he's stuck in this room.
Is this room stretching?
And he puts on the pendant and a pair of glasses he found on the ground. And then the mirror in front of him.
Is this a Mormon thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, the
We
mirror
got
in front
magic
of
glasses?
him. The mirror in front of him hands him a book. It says, "I want you to go around to everybody's house and try and give these out for free,
but only for 2 years, in your mid-20s or your early 20s, and wear a suit."
Walk or bike, your choice.
You can keep the helmet, though.
The mirror turns to smoke, and there's this huge toad that appears. And, like, I don't know how to explain this toad. It's this incredible pose that it's doing. Is like, I don't know. How would you explain it, Hughes? I sent you this picture, and you were pissed.
I have
So
no idea how to
angry
explain it.
about
It's just
this.
like this black blob, this ink blot in water.
Yeah.
I sent this to Hughes last night, and he sent me, "I hope you could explain that toad." Well, the answer is, I can't, Hughes. I can't.
There is going to be no explanation of the toads in this movie.
Of what the significance of the toad
Yeah.
is? Not really, no.
I feel like we're watching Castaway. We never find out what's in the package.
I thought you were going to say we never hear Wilson talk.
And he's still pissed about it.
So then we get, like, basically the mirror is going to show Tom his life, right? Is we see kind of like a slow, like, backwards turn. Like, we see him riding around, and then him as a kid riding his bike in Minihenge.
Yeah.
And then, like, his mom
Holding him as a baby.
Yeah, and
in
then
that very mini hinge.
and then a man who looks like a flasher in a trench coat, like a trench coat flasher with a top hat, comes out. And is he going to pull out his dick? No, he pulls out a contract. And
Here it comes.
yeah, the mom looks up. She's like, "Oh no," and he's like, "No, just sign here."
Yeah.
But she does sign with the dicks. No, he hands her a contract and a pen, and apparently she's signing something, and then kind of like holds them up to the sky, and there's like lightning that strikes.
So the baby has been blessed by the devil in some manner.
Yeah, I guess.
I thought they took away his soul. I was going on with this whole movie that Tom doesn't have a soul, which is why he's so evil or weird.
Maybe.
It's definitely a possibility.
It never got explained. That was part of the things that pissed me off with this movie. There's just a whole bunch of stuff.
As I
and no
understand it,
They rely on us to figure out a lot.
As I understand it, from watching this twice in 2 days, I have a feeling that it's like because the father died, she didn't want Tom to die. So she signed a pact with the devil
to protect her son.
So that in the case that he died, but I guess it doesn't work by accident, and he has to do it himself, he would be immortal.
Then what is she giving the devil? Why is he staying? Because I figured that guy that with the contract was Shadwell, right?
No.
Yeah, it is.
It is Shadwell with the
That's
contract?
revealed in the final scene.
Oh, okay. So it is Shadwell with that.
So that whole
Shadwell's the devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have this whole pact.
So wait,
Spoiler
hold on.
alert.
So
the butler is the devil.
Okay, if everybody's confused listening to this movie,
yeah,
I have to live with you, and you have to do seances for free, but you live really nice. And your kid, he just has to kill himself a lot.
So what do they get?
I think the contract was Shadwell's own rental agreement.
Yeah.
Do you think it was just a lease?
Just so he can stay at her place.
I'm here for the lease. That was his credit score.
Oh, actually, it was like a job application so he could be the butler?
He had his job application. And
Hey,
his
you looking for some help?
his Experian credit report just went.
Like,
and his down
he's
payment.
dressed so nice. I mean, he's got to be.
He's like, I'd like to move in. Also, I am the devil.
You don't have any rules against that, do you?
So what exactly do they get from this? Because, like...
Immortality, I guess?
But hold on, though. Not until you do it yourself.
Yeah. So, but until then you're kind of left to chance.
And only if you really, really believe that you can come back.
But then it works for everybody.
If you can believe.
Yeah, but like it doesn't literally.
So
they don't get anything.
Yeah. So why are they making a deal with the devil then? If anyone can do it.
Do you think there's any point when the mom was just like, you know, hey, Shadwell, we need to talk. I mean, we signed this contract. You're living here for like 18 years. I just found out that anybody can do this. You really swindled us.
Are you sure it wasn't like Matt Latanza?
He's like, of course I did. I'm the devil.
He's like, gotcha, bitch.
Disappears into brimstone.
Free rent for 2 decades.
Fooled you. Got him.
Like Shadwell's on the phone. He's like, you wouldn't believe it. I convinced this lady I'm the devil.
Some shadow demons clapping in the corner.
Yeah.
I just showed her that shitty prize I won at the carnival.
It's just some like
she bought the whole thing.
It's like some like street performer, like train hopping street performer that just kind of knew the right con.
I'm so glad that everybody was confused by this movie.
Yeah, because it really the
Liking
contract
it doesn't mean we
means
get
shit. I mean, the contract doesn't
It means
mean
absolutely
anything.
nothing. Score one for the Prince of Lies.
Like, they're really trying to get plot going in this movie, and it's just every time they do, I go, this doesn't make sense.
Hey, look, we just got to get through this so we can get to the fun part.
I'd say, though, this is a real flawed epic. Like, I absolutely love this movie. Spoiler for me, it's a definite recommend. It has so many problems, yet I love it. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I like it too. I like it too.
I just can't stand it. It's great. I watched it again, and I was still enjoying every minute.
It is one of my absolute favorite movies.
This
like
is great.
I adore this movie. I'm planning on dressing up as one of the Living Dead at a comic convention next year.
Don't take it all the way. Please don't.
Do you think your motorcycle can get through a brick wall?
Oh, my God. If you end up...
We'll get to the trivia about that.
Okay, so basically Tom freaks out after seeing all this stuff and he passes out in the dead room. And then he wakes up later on the couch. Okay, so he wakes up on the couch and Shadwell and the mom are talking next to him and they're like, well, he won't know how to do this and all this stuff. And she's like, oh, he found the dad's glasses. And then the mom sits down. She keeps saying, when you die, you have to believe.
That is some Tony Robbins shit.
You have to believe you'll come back with all your being. And then you just cut to Tom standing behind him. He goes, thank you, mother.
He like pops up behind them, even though he was in front of them on the couch.
So he pulled the Shadwell. He's like, gotcha.
Yeah.
Shadwell's like, ha!
In all the years of Tom asking, he never once overheard them say, well, the key to coming back from the dead is you just gotta believe.
I love that that's how complex they got with it. It's just like, you gotta want it.
Yeah, he was thinking, he's
that's
like,
it.
can you guys tell me the secret, please? And they're like, eat your dinner first, eat your vegetables, and then we'll tell you the secret, Tom. And he's just like, for 18 years, he's been trying and trying and trying. All it is you gotta believe. That's fucking bullshit. It's like at the end of The Wizard of Oz, they're like, you could be home right now. You're in a coma. Just wake up, bitch.
Yeah, you didn't have to go through all this. That's on you.
This next scene, they go back to the motorcycle races, but this time it's the opening again, but in real time, so it's faster and not decolorized, so it's actually full color.
It doesn't look like an old Hammer movie.
Yeah, and it's just replayed footage.
Yeah.
So they're in Mini Henge again, right? the hangout.
That's the home base. That's the HQ.
And then Tom tells him, he's like, all right, hey, let's go to town and cause a ruckus, you know? And they're like, hey, that's suicide. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it
Yeah,
anyway.
he asks, what's the fastest anyone's ever gone on the motorway? And they're like, yeah, 95. And he says, well, today we're doing the whole ton, and we're going to hold it.
Yeah,
Which means
the
we're
whole
gonna,
turn?
Ton, T-O-N. I looked this up. It's slang of the time. It means we're going to go 100 miles an hour, and we're going to keep it at 100 miles an hour.
Oh, my God, I did not
The
get
whole
that.
ton isn't 1,000 over there.
Well, that's funny, because I had subtitles on, and it was the turn.
Oh, they must
that's
have written
wrong.
it down wrong.
Where did you watch this?
On Fandor on Amazon.
Fandor?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he fought He-Man, didn't he? What's Fandor?
He's also a...
It's like
also
Shudder,
le-
except better.
Oh, dude, we are never getting that
Oh,
Shudder.
boy. We are cutting that
Well,
out.
it got twice the inventory, so they got 12 movies.
More like You sure it isn't called shitter?
Oh man.
And it's $1 cheaper.
Oh.
It's $1 cheaper for more inventory.
All right.
Fuck
Are
you,
you
Shudder.
working for Fandor?
Wow. Is this the startup you're working on?
When we get around to if there's anything you want to plug, you're going to plug your Fandor?
I do have to say, though, the copy of this movie on Shudder is not great quality.
Oh, perfect on Fandor.
Really?
Yeah, it was probably the 2010 remaster then, because there was nothing bad about it.
Yeah, this was real rough.
7's remaster was pretty nice. I used to have that.
Well,
Yeah, I
the
bought
copy on here
multiple
was
copies
bad.
of this movie.
So we go, okay, so basically they're riding around, right? And this is great, though. They go to the town. So they go to the town square.
First thing they do is when they're going to like raise hell is gently kick over some traffic cones.
Yeah, I do like that. It's like when we were in high school, riding our cars around like, let me hit a cone.
Let's go hit a mailbox with a bat, you guys.
Like, this is when, like, other than killing that guy, you think, like, they just are, like, mildly annoying to the people of the town. They're like, hey, guy working on the street, how about this? And he's like, oh, now I gotta pick those up.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
they opened
not.
strong with murder, and now we've gone down to just nuisance.
So the whole time I watch this movie, I'm thinking back to The Babysitter and their plot about, we portray motorcycle gangs in a bad way. These movies are made right like one after the other in the years, and so it's like this is the bad motorcycle portrayal that they were talking about.
Right.
Because this makes no sense.
Just the public nuisance, you know?
It's
kids.
a small fucking British town. You know how many people? There's like 8 cops and 16 youth.
Outnumbered.
One for every movie on Fandor.
Yeah. So I wrote down what they did here. They chase him over with a baby stroller, and they also hit her on the butt.
Ah, that's an adorable moment. Just rides by and gives her a little swat.
They hit some shopping carts. They're like, yeah, check it out, and they just hit a few.
There's an umbrella joust.
Yeah, that's
Two
right.
of them steal umbrellas from people and then joust each other.
And gently kissed on the tips.
A man with a bunch of boxes falls over, which is so great. He's like, hi, honey, I'm trying for shopping. Oh, no!
It's so slapstick. I was hoping like 2 guys would be trying to transport a pane of glass. Or a guy's trying to build a house of cards.
But you know what, Bobby? They did have the man just randomly on a ladder in the middle of nowhere.
Like, I don't know if it's just because it's cleaned up on the Blu-ray, but there is a wire above him, and he's trying to hang a banner. But I thought that at first, too, that he's just a guy standing on a ladder for funsies.
And, of course, he falls off it. But don't worry, into some boxes. So, again, just kind of a nuisance. Also, there's a lot of empty boxes in this town. That's something we never really get
the
into.
The town's planning on moving out.
I'm moving up.
Guest appearance by Billy Joel.
One biker steals an ice cream cart. I do like that. Is he like takes this cart and he's like, "Hey, who wants ice cream?" And then they also knock over some guy carrying bread. Like, of course, there's a guy with a bunch of baguettes that's like, "I just bought my dinner for." Oh, Jesus!
These monsters.
Not my bread.
That's one of my favorite things about this movie is the childlike. Ruckus that they cause.
Yeah, it's just a ruckus, and then one police officer shows up and he's like, hey, you kids are going to be in a lot of trouble.
What's great is the cop shows up, he gets out of his car, starts running towards the scene on foot, and then goes, oh shit, they're on motorcycles. And he runs back to his car.
And then we just get in like a car chase, right? It just goes around for a while. It is a pretty good chase, though. They go through those mountain roads.
One noticeable thing during this is Abby's stunt double is clearly a man. Like, if you look at Abby during this car chase, she's suddenly broad-shouldered and like 3 inches taller.
Like in the 80s, shoulder pads hadn't happened yet.
Was Abby the one that fell off during this scene?
No, Jane just falls off. And I do like that. It's the cops drive by Jane, and they're like, yeah, just leave her. And then they just go after everybody else. But then we get to Tom and Abby riding, right? And they're still in the chase. And Abby says, Tom, you'll kill yourself. And he goes, I tried. Off the bridge. And she goes, please don't.
And he says, see you around.
Yeah, I'm going. See you around. And then the next shot.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's going to just shoot straight off of this bridge. And the best part is, like, he just, like, kind of... matter, solidity of objects is just subject to whatever the imagination has at the time. Because this man just, like, goes right through, a metal railing of a bridge where later anyone can go through a brick wall. This is like, watching like an Alakazam magic show or something like that.
We bend prison bars at one point.
Yeah.
It looks like the Raptors got it.
Yeah, it did.
But we'll get to it.
He just kind of like goes, yeah,
straight
this
off
bridge.
straight off the bridge through these metal bars.
You expect
and,
like a goofy woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, right.
He goes up.
By the way, into water.
Yeah.
And it's not that tall of a bridge.
To be fair, we don't know how deep that water
But
is.
he's wearing a helmet too.
It's just like, okay, I guess he's dead. How do we know he's dead? Well, we cut to some kids fishing.
It's adorable. It's like a precious moment.
And then some little girl just walks over like 5 feet and you see a corpse, like you see Tom's dead body, and she goes, oh, look.
The shortest version of Stand By Me ever.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But I wrote, okay, did he just drift down the river, or were they just sitting there and not noticing the man who flew off? Like, it was such a non-event to these children that they're just like, what is that? Oh, look, there's a body.
Oh, they should have reeled him in.
That would have been great if the little boy caught him.
Yeah.
I got a big one. I got me a big one. I got me a big one.
Oh, he's not a squibbing no more, he ain't.
It's gonna win a prize. It is. Our accent work is amazing.
Oh, Junior, do it back. So we go to Tom's house, and Abby shows up. Okay, Abby shows up to talk to the mom, right? And the mom basically wants to know. She's like, all right, hey, Abby, did Tom kill himself, or was it an accident? Like, how did he die? And she's like, no, he killed himself. And she's like, oh, okay, that's good.
Good.
And then Abby's like, we want to bury Tom our own way. And Shadwell and Mom are like, yeah, whatever. We don't really give a fuck. We're not even going to show up to the funeral. So then Abby leaves, and then Mom and Shadwell, they're like, you think Tom will come back?
Yeah, they had this whole story, though, too, where they're talking about what mini Stonehenge is, like 7 witches. Then we get the story of the 7 witches in that scene.
They returned to stone for breaking a bargain with superior powers. So if you break the contract for employment and room and board, you get turned to stone, as the legend says.
Oh.
And I wonder if like they had to say superior powers and they couldn't say Satan because then it would be censored in some way. Because I know England or the UK has like that very
the
weird
video
thing.
nasty craze didn't hit for another 10 years or so. So I think they would have been okay, but better safe.
We don't like ourselves that devil, right?
Well, remember like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in England. It was Hero Turtles.
Better title.
Teenage Hero Turtles. Ain't no mutants in the UK, right?
Bastards.
And then the guy saying that turns into Mr. Hyde. Anyway, off I go.
The only mutant around here is Robert Louis Stevenson, all right? So then we go to the funeral. Great funeral, by the way. So we just cut. Who wants to tell me how is it? Man, please tell me, how is the special way that Tom's gonna be buried?
Oh my God. So first off, I didn't know, like, when you go there, like, apparently it's the thing. Okay, anyone from England, please contact us. Is it the thing to be buried, like, in your favorite position? Notice, like if I played baseball, my position is gonna be like in the batting stance. For the bat, I'm just gonna be buried like that. Because now Tom is now sitting on a motorcycle, his motorcycle, just like in the pose, like he's riding, like he's cruising position.
Very
and
Weekend at Bernie's.
there's like wreaths on him. Like I wanted someone to throw a wreath and get it around his head, like high five, like hey, we finally got it.
Well, then
like,
you win the necklace.
Yeah, you get the necklace.
Also, though, he is sitting on his motorcycle in the grave.
Yeah.
But he's like 3 feet like
Yeah,
above the ground.
his head's poking out.
Like they didn't dig it deep enough. They just gave up at some point. They're like, fuck it. We'll just throw some dirt on the ground.
Hatchet got tired and frustrated and threw the shovel down.
Because he's not going to get buried. He's going to get like half buried at this point.
It's also neat seeing them all out of their gang colors for this scene.
Oh, yeah.
They just look like the Scooby-Doo gang.
They did.
And also, one of the guys is singing a song.
That's Chopped Meat.
Okay, so Chopped Meat
He's
is
pulling a John Denver.
He's singing this
Fucking that song.
That song's
No,
amazing. It's
no.
called Ride Free, and he's written his own folk song
I think
about
that's-
his leader,
Yeah,
Tom.
I think that's on the vinyl too.
It is.
I think,
It absolutely
yeah,
is.
stoked about that.
And the world never knew his name, but the chosen few know of his fame. Come join his company, riding free.
And you know what? All the people are like making wreaths, right?
Yeah.
So they're making flowers, and they kind of like seem annoyed by the song. Like now that I'm watching it again, they all kind of have this look like, I wish you would shut the fuck up.
I'm betting it's like take 17.
It has to be what it is.
He's
like,
like, they're
for
just
fuck-
like, sake this song.
They're like, Chopped Meat and his fucking guitar, this guy.
They're all just like Chris Hughes.
Do you think every day Chopped Meat's like, hey guys, how come you didn't come to my gig last night? And they're just
He fucking brings up his gig in this movie.
If any of you listening are musicians or are friends of musicians, you know that's exactly how that went down. You guys are gonna come see me, right?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, man.
You know they're not coming when they go, what time, you get the text back, what time do you guys play? That's just like the pity text of like, okay, at least we like extended the, oh yeah, we'll check it out, unquote. Like, why do you check out a show? You either go or you fucking don't.
We're gonna pop our head in the window and see what's going on.
Anyone that says, I'll check it out, fuck you.
Whoa! Shots fired. Chris Mann is
Let it
As
out.
a touring musician, lifelong, fuck you, Mrs. Mr. Mrs. I'll check it out. Go fuck yourselves. You either go or you fucking don't. Thank you.
Yes.
Mic drop.
Woo! Shots fired.
I'll check it out.
Well, trust me, Chop Meat's getting a lot of "I'll check it out."
I
Why do you think he calls himself Chop Meat?
that time when the Angels won the pennant, like I checked it out. I drove around the stadium. I checked it out.
Your parents are like, Chris, come to the game with us. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I drove past it on the freeway. That was enough.
I drove
saw
around it. I saw the festivities. What time do they play?
Do you think that's what people at sporting events tell their friends, like professional athletes,
Yeah.
like, will you come see me play today? And they're like, wait, what time you play? Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
What's your batting position?
Yeah, wait.
All right, so you're probably not getting in there till like the third inning, right?
Yeah, what are you, bat 8th or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check you out.
Okay, this is great. So they all like take those wreaths they spend some time making, I guess, and then just throw them right in the hole, which is like, well, that was a fucking
There's no
waste.
ceremony. They don't lay it on him. They're just like, fuck it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like, why make the flowers if you're just gonna throw them in? Usually, you put those on top. You know, you don't just spend like if you're gonna spend the time to make something, why are you just gonna throw it in the grave? Like, I thought that was pretty funny because they kind of just walk over and they're like, fuck, we gotta go.
Take 17.
I have to come up with an excuse why I'm not going to Chop Meat's show tonight, so I gotta get the fuck out of here. And then they come over and they're all like, well, I guess we're gonna bury him now. And then Jane's like, oh, I've decided I'm leader now.
Spot on, Mike.
And Abby's like, he isn't even buried yet. And then did you notice that she like kind of, I don't really know what was going on. Is she takes the shovel and like puts a pebble in the grave? Like she just goes like, yeah.
And now we know why it wasn't deep enough.
Yeah.
That's the kind of effort they're putting in.
Like I've never seen somebody do such like a slow, and then drop a few pebbles in, and then they're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
That's like my first day of drum lessons when I was a little kid, and I never touched a drumstick. He's like, show me what you got, kid. And I'm like, like, you're like, just dropped a drumstick on the snare because I'm 7. He's like, oh boy. Right. You paid up front, right?
And then, okay, so then Shadwell shows up to brighten this party, right? And he just comes over, he's like, I'd like to bury something with Tom. It's this box. And they're like, all right, whatever. And then he has the frog pendant.
Yeah, they go, what's in the box? And he opens it, he goes, it's this, bury this in there. And then he keeps the box.
Well, yeah. He's frugal.
He just basically drops it into the hole.
Yeah.
Like it's a wreath.
Yeah, like it's a wreath. There's like, fuck it. Shadwell also had to make an excuse why he wouldn't be at Chop Meat's concert that night. He did get the invitation, and Chop Meat's running over. He's like, Shadwell, you did get the invitation, right? You and boy,
what time are you
we're
going
grieving.
on? I'm sure we'll check it out.
So then they all leave, and I guess they buried him.
Sorta. It's like a dirt pile.
Yeah,
because he was too high up out of the ground.
Yeah.
They're just kind of waving goodbye to it as they drive out.
They're like, yeah, see ya. I guess we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be here again. And then, okay, so that's... This is amazing. So some random British guy pops a tire, all right? This is how this joke starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop me if you heard this.
Any movie, like, if there's a flat tire, it's a requisite. You must jump out and kick the tire 1 to 2 times.
Yeah.
What the fuck is with that?
I
They're
tried
making
that
sure
when
that
it happened to me, and it didn't.
Yeah,
do
it
anything.
didn't reinflate.
Yeah,
it's
like,
fucking damnedest thing.
damn it.
My tire pop! And then they get it. It goes back.
They try to blow it back up.
Oh, my lungs!
Have you ever gotten a flat tire and not known you had a flat tire in your back? He had to go and check. He goes, oh, I don't have a spare. Like, how do you not know you don't have a spare in your car?
Yeah, why wouldn't he have a spare?
Yeah, why would you
Well,
not
why
know?
don't you have one? But
Say
why
it
do
how-
you not know you don't have
Say
one?
it how he says it, Hughes.
I don't know. I don't have it written down.
In the accent.
Don't have a spare.
Yeah, come on. I want to hear your British accent. Tell me you don't.
Don't stab me, spare.
That's a accent, so that's good enough.
You know
Oh my
what?
God.
It's as close
Can
as
you-
it was gonna be.
Can you not do a British accent?
Not to my knowledge.
Let's hear it. Let's try
do you
it.
know,
The
do you
first
know a
time
movie
ever
quote by a British character?
on Grindbin. Give
we
me
go.
The debut.
a pop me tire.
I bought me tire.
That's good enough. That's pretty good.
I liked it.
So
Why did you groan?
When you throw the hate mail from England.
Yeah, you just lost every listener.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
All 5 of
we're
them.
gonna lose them more.
Whenever we go visit them, we'll have a wicked piss up, and we'll.
Wicked piss up, you will.
But no, this British wanker.
Wanker.
His tire is popped, and he goes up to the window and he's like, "I forgot me spare, wife." And she's like, she says something to him like, "Well, go get one." And he's like, "Oh, got to walk around town." And he starts walking one way, and she's like, "Oh,
What the fuck was that?
you're too much of a." She does. She goes, "Oh, you're too much of a little cocky boy. You won't walk through the graveyard." She starts like busting his balls.
You sound like the fucking gatekeeper from Atmosphere.
She does. She starts busting his balls. She's like, "Oh, little cocky boy."
I believe you mean his bollocks.
Yeah. Little no bollocks husband of mine won't even walk through the fucking graveyard. What, are you afraid of a ghost?
How long has Mike been practicing this accent for this episode?
Did you watch every episode of Monty Python before we recorded?
That's my one accent I could do is the British lady.
Oh, you got the Italian sleazeball. You got that one.
Oh, well, yeah. I have a few accents.
You got the Pope.
Italian sleaze. I didn't know that was an accent.
So he's like, not to be emasculated by his wife, he's like, "Fine, I'll go walk through the fucking graveyard. Fine, I'll walk through the graveyard. I'll walk amongst the tombstones like I'm Neeson." And he just walks through. So he walks through, right?
Does everyone sound like a chimney sweep in your head?
Yes, they do.
I don't know what year this movie took place now.
So he steps in time.
Yeah, he steps back in time and he's like, "Oh, walk around this fucking
Yeah, he's trying to get to Fleet Street. There we go.
graveyard." We have taken so long to get through a 1 minute scene. So
You're the one trying to get us to do accents.
he goes through this graveyard, right? And then so Tom just
He hears an engine.
Rum,
Yeah,
rum,
he's
rum,
like,
rum, rum.
"Oh God, it's them motorcycle ghosts I've heard so much about."
Rum, 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 rum.
And then he looks over and it goes, and
Like Evil Knievel's out of the dirt.
It's like Meatloaf and Rocky
It
Horror.
is.
That's exactly what it was.
Like,
I was thinking hot patootie.
now we know why.
Patootie.
Now we know why they buried him like that. So they're like, the only way this stunt's gonna work is if he
Yeah.
just goes ring right out of the
Straight
thing.
up.
So he rides out of the dirt and then he just runs this guy over. That's a wrap. We'll never
Yeah,
see
that
this.
dude's toast.
We'll never see little Cocker again. Then we'll go to the gas station. Like Tom just fills up his tank.
Much like the cone thing being kind of anticlimactic, Tom bursts out onto the ground, this big glorious thing, and we cut right to him just sitting at a gas station.
Yeah, they
He's
didn't
like-
give him a full tank of gas when he died.
Are you kidding me? Hatchet took it.
66 cents.
Yeah, you
Fucking 66 cents.
Chop Meat siphoned it to get to his gig.
Hatchet wanted that bike, and all they could get was the gas. They're like, "No, he
Yeah.
gets to get buried in his bike." And he's like, "Ah, fuck, I'm taking the gas. He doesn't need that now." So Tom goes to the gas station, and he's just sitting there, and the guy's filling it up, and we just get like a good 10 seconds of him just kind of sitting there.
Killing time.
And then he's like, "All right, that's the money you owe me." And he's like, he does the old,
Oh, yeah, he gives himself a quick pat down.
oh, forgot. And then he looks at him and he goes, "I'm sick of you kids pulling that stunt." Like, this is the, like, he's been swindled so many times of people just going like, huh? Oh, don't got any money, bye.
I really gotta start taking it up front.
Yes. Like, he hasn't learned it yet. He's
There's
like,
gotta be a better way.
Fuck.
He calls him a long-haired git during this.
And then I guess he says something to him like, "Well, no, you're going to pay me this time." And then Tom's like, "Well, I don't have to take that from anybody." And then kills him with his hand.
He has superhuman power now.
Yeah.
That is established. He is apparently not only undead, but super strong.
And then we go to a bar. So Tom shows up to this bar, and I put that Ron Paul's there with a dog. There's a guy that looks like him in there. I was like, is Ron Paul in this movie? So he's there with a dog. Also, I wrote, who the fuck lets a dog into the bar? Like, because this is really fucking annoying. If this dog's going to be barking the whole time while you're trying to drink a beer, you're like,
drink your sorrows
can
away.
you shut that fucking thing up? And he's like, oh, I'm blind. I guess the dog's there so, like, what, he could bark and be like, see, Tom's dead.
Yeah, it's
Dogs
just to
don't
establish
like him.
dogs know, man.
Yeah.
That he's evil. Because I guess he wasn't before.
But he's not evil. Tom's not evil, apparently, through this movie.
What? This scene is totally evil.
No, I know,
At
but
what point is Tom not evil?
later on in the movie, when they were talking about, what's the redhead or the girl in the red jacket? What was her
Jane.
name? Jane.
Yeah.
Jane came back, and his mom found out that Jane came back and she was living dead. And they go, she needs to die. She's super evil.
Yeah, well, she is.
Yeah, but Tom isn't.
Well,
so Tom's
I
just
think
Tom's
it's
just
more
a
that
dick.
Jane is worse than Tom.
Yeah, it was weird.
And we established that later, that Jane is definitely worse than Tom.
Yeah. If there's one undead person you don't want running around, it's Jane.
She's the real villain of this story.
Jane is fucking crazy. But Tom, okay, so he's in that bar, right? And he goes up, and there's this girl giving him the eye. You know, she's like, I saw that motorcycle.
Yeah, he's in his sweet leather pants and his hot pink writing on his jacket.
I saw that bulge. I saw that bicycle. I want them both.
Do you have dirt in your hair? Because I'm into that.
And she's giving him the eye, and then he walks over and he's like, can I get some change for the phone? She's like, take it, love. And he calls up the house. Why he didn't just go home, I don't know. But he calls up and Shadwell answers the phone. But I do like this, though, is that the mom, while the phone's ringing, she's like, Shadwell, I don't want anybody over tonight. He's like, all right. So he answers the phone, and it's Tom. And they're all happy. They're like, oh, Tom, we knew you'd be back. How wonderful to hear from you. And then, you know, they're
She
all
asks how he's doing, and he responds, I'm dead, mother, but apart from that, I couldn't be better.
And then he walks over. He hangs up. He's like, well, I'll see you around, guys. Walks over to the bar, and he starts drinking a beer. And the bartender's like, that'll be so-and-so. And Tom goes, well, this one's on the house.
And then the bartender walks around. He goes, no.
Yeah, and he's going to confront him. And then the girl giving him the fuck me eyes walks over, and she's like, I'll pay for his beer.
The bird wants a ride on the bike.
She does. So they go outside.
Well, she tells her friend when she gives him the change that she just bought a ride on his bike. That was why she gave him the phone change. Because she's like, why'd you do that? She's like, I bought a ride on his bike. How's my accent? Am I doing
It's
all
great.
right?
Great. I love me a motorbike. And so they go outside, and
she tries to get on the bike with him, and won't. She's not taking no for an answer. Finally, in the movie, the roles are flipped.
Yeah.
For a moment.
She's like, she just won't leave him alone. He's like, no, love, thank you. I got to go somewhere tonight. I got somewhere special to go to.
And she says, I'm not classy enough for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah, and she just jumps on the bike, and she's like, well, I'm going with you. And he's like, oh, no, you're not.
He saes, be a good girl and get off the
be
bike.
a good girl.
She doesn't take no for an answer, and then she slaps him, and then he just
He
grabs
goes
her by
into the zone.
Yeah. The switch is flipped.
He is definitely unhinged at this point now. That
So I
he's
guess
undead.
once you die, you just become, a woman beating, a strangler and.
Like some sort of Frankenstein. You have the strength of a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
It's basically Dead Heat. If you remember that movie.
Yeah.
Well, the way he kills people is kind of like Frankenstein's monster, because he just kind of puts two hands up and goes, ah,
And
like
the person
goes for
goes,
the
"Oh,
neck.
no," and they cut away to something else for a minute.
Yeah, well, she starts screaming, this girl. She's like, ah! And then everybody runs out of the bar, and they're like, oh my God.
And what's amazing when they all run out and take a look at the scene is he's not only killed her, but apparently 4 others that were around.
Well, okay.
There are bodies laid on hoods. There's a dude on the ground nearby.
Yeah, they cut to later. So you don't see all the bar people run out.
Okay.
You just see the cops show up. So it's I guess later, right?
Okay, so yeah, he must have just taken out everyone who ran
so
out
everybody
to see what
that
was
ran
going
out.
on.
The cops show up. Okay, this is great though. Is the cops show up and we get the first introduction of the detective, who I love this guy. He shows up and the police officer is just like, "Oh, sorry, detective. Know you win a card game." Sorry to disrupt you tonight with the 5 murders.
And he responds with it's all right, I was losing.
Yeah, but they don't even know because all of a sudden they just look over, literally 2 inches from them. They would have noticed when they drove up. They're like, "Oh shit!" And there's just like dead bodies everywhere. Oh, didn't see that with me headlights.
Oh, must be me papers up me noggin.
For one reason, though, he did. For some reason, he didn't kill the girl's friend, and she's there, and she's like, "I told her not to go with him. I told him." And he's like, "Well, who did this?" And she's like, "It's that gang that goes around knocking bread."
That's not a line.
Those bread knockers.
That's not a line.
I think that's the name of the gang. They're the bread knockers.
What's their name? It's either the Living Dead or the Bread Knockers.
Oh, do they watch Doctor Hoo-Ha?
And the detective's like, "Oh, I know all about them. All about them."
Those bread knockers.
Wait, who is it? Because there are 2 gangs in this town. There's that Living Dead gang, and then there's the Bread Knockers. It's a big difference between the 2. You gotta tell me which one.
Do they wear crossbones or cross loaves?
One goes
Bones
around
or baguettes?
One goes around with bikes between their legs. The other's baguettes. The bread knockers just go around with big baguettes in their pants, and they just kind of like hump women with them. And they don't really do that much damage. It's all with the clothes on. So.
Thank God they didn't mean a frog.
So we go back to Mini Hedge, and the bikers are all pissed because the cops came around and bothered them. They're like, "Did the cops come and talk to you?"
Because word is getting around that someone dressed like one of the Living Dead is murdering people.
Yeah, and everybody goes through where they were. Some guy's like, "I was at a hotel last night," and somebody's like, "I was at my home," and Chop Meat's like, "I was at a gig."
None of you guys were there.
That no one else is.
You all said you check it out.
A lot of people checking it out that night. I could hear bikes outside. Maybe just the ghost of Tom. You know, maybe at one point he's like, Tom, you got all the time in the world and you couldn't even go to a fucking show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Literally all the time in the world, you son of a bitch.
I could hear the sound of the ghost of our friendship.
Like, he lingered when they all left, and he just crouched over by the grave and had a few last things to say.
Yeah.
So now they just...
What's interesting in this... I'm going to cut you off, but what's interesting in this is that at this point, they all turn and look at Hatchet while they're all giving their alibis, and he gets a little, indignant about it. He's like, why does everyone think it was me? Well, for starters, you call yourself Hatchet.
Everybody always thinks it's Hatchet, and for good reason, we'll find out.
Right.
For very good reason.
Right.
Hatchet is the wild card of this group.
He earned his nickname.
You never know what the fuck he's going to do next. So at this point, they're like, "Oh my God, Tom's grave's empty." And nobody noticed, by the way. They didn't notice the giant hole where that mound of dirt was where they buried their friend. Quote, buried their friend.
Oh, we buried him in a sinkhole. Shit.
And of course they think, rationally, that somebody stole the body.
and it's wearing his clothes.
Yeah, the description they get is so stupid. Somebody stole his body, took his bike, stole his clothes, and then went and committed a murder and blamed it on us.
Jinkies.
And then Tom pulls up, and he says hello, and then Jane's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm the leader of this gang now, so I don't care."
Whoever you think you are.
And then Hatchet pulls out a knife because he's like, "I don't know who this guy is. He looks like Tom, but he's got a helmet on."
He stealthily creeps behind him.
Because, apparently if Tom has a helmet on his head, nobody knows who he is. I could tell who he was, but apparently his closest friends couldn't. And then he's
it's a real Batman situation.
Yeah,
because his mouth's right there.
Then he just takes off the helmet. They're like, "Oh, it's Tom. He sounded like Tom. He smelled like Tom. He looked like, oh, that's him." He finally got the helmet off.
And when he gets shanked by Hatchet, Hatchet comes up and just really rams that in there, and he just kind of turns and pats him on the shoulder like old friend.
Well, I write, Hatchet pulls out a knife, and he apparently doesn't think it's Tom still, even after he does the thing. And I'm like, who could it be at this point, Hatchet? I was like, a man wearing his skin, some sort of British magic. Like, what is going on?
There's a reason Hatchet never claims leadership. He's like, well, I'm the leader now. I'm like, Hatchet, come on, dude.
So Tom...
and him being a chubby ginger, I am rooting for him.
Oh, Hatchet is amazing. The way later that he waves goodbye is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. So then Jane goes, so basically Tom says, hey guys, I got this great thing. There's this comet that's going to come by, right? And if you drink the Kool-Aid with me, we could all go take a ride on it.
I got new outfits for us. What size shoe do you guys wear?
He's like, hey, if you kill yourself, you can come back. You just got to believe. And guess what? I'm indestructible. And Jane, the one we definitely don't want doing this, goes, oh, man, what are we waiting for?
It's pretty great. And when he has an arm around Hatchet, all warm smiles with a knife at his back, he claims, you can only die once.
So then they go ride back into town. Or
Right.
what we think is going to be town, because they're like, let's go back to town. And they go riding, and then Tom directs two of the bikers into a busy intersection.
Yeah, that's Jane and Hinky, who decide to play real-life Frogger.
He's just like, and go! And
Yeah.
they just ram right into it, like through a truck.
Jane gets hit. Hinky goes flying through the truck.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Jane goes flying like on the hood of it, and they're all fucked up and dead. Then we go to a funeral, a double funeral, which, by the way, is a great way to save money.
Are we to assume that Jane and Hinky were related then?
I don't know.
That's the only way I could rationalize there being a double funeral is if he's her brother.
They had a deal going with the other family. They're like, well, your kid died, our kid died. Why don't we just... Also, let's get the cheapest wood coffins we can. Like,
Chop Meat's like, do you want to play the funeral? They're like, we're okay. We've already booked someone.
He's like, really? Because, I mean, I don't need to get paid. They're like,
I've
"Oh,
written
no,
songs for
it's
each
fine."
of them.
So we go to the double funeral. Hatchet's just blowing gum in the funeral like that. Just blowing bubbles. And then Tom walks in, right? And they lift the lids of the coffin and nobody's in them. Well, in one.
Yeah,
Right,
only in one.
And I go, didn't they notice how light that coffin was when they brought it in?
Right? Yeah.
Also,
Are you calling Jane fat?
no, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that, you know.
A little body
She wasn't very big.
Oh
I don't
my
think she
God.
added a lot of weight to that casket.
They're just like, oh, Hughes. Or maybe she like let him carry her in and everything, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna get him real good when they lift the lid. So then basically we see Tom and Jane riding around. Okay, the newly resurrected Jane, and they just mess with some old ladies in a
They are
car.
terrorizing these old women getting a cab ride.
Does any of this make sense? Like, they have immortality now, and they have super strength, and they're just going to fucking harass old people.
Yeah, just what they did
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, they're just,
This
for
is a ride
the rest
for
of
old time's sake. to
the
get
rest of
feeling back.
eternity, just harass old people.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like, this is gonna be
Wouldn't
terrible.
you?
God,
People are just gonna move out of this town eventually because they're like, those damn living dead kids.
it's like this movie had a good premise,
It was
but
okay
they had
with the bread knockers.
Yeah. Between them and the bread knockers, this town has really gone in the shitter. Am I right?
this movie had an interesting premise, and then it had no substance. Is how I would describe this movie.
Yeah, because they're like, what do you do with eternal life? Fuck with the elderly.
Yeah.
Because they just kind of like go up and they just like touch the windows. They're like,
Basically,
you're
that's
old,
it.
bitch.
It's just like little
they,
like
knock-
motorcycle tricks.
Yeah, they knock the mirrors off.
Yeah, they
and
rip the
like,
mirrors off and
bust
start-
out the side windows. Like, they get
the
pretty
window.
hardcore on it, but it's ultimately just rattling
Yeah,
cans.
they give up. It's just like hitting a mailbox. Like,
pretty much. They had cones to go kick over, so they took off.
and so then they go up to the most British man of all time who's driving this truck.
A glassware truck.
Okay, so this guy is just, he's got like giant gaps in his teeth. And he's got like, for some reason, he has most of his head is bald, but he's kept like pieces of it in the I don't know how to explain it. Like he has like a Bozo the Clown haircut.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a circle of bald hair with like a mohawk of hair coming out of it, like a double lock coming out of the front of his head.
Pretty awesome.
The worst teeth you've ever seen. And Jane looks at him and she goes, "Oh look, it's Father Christmas."
Yeah.
And this guy loses his mind when he hears that.
He flips. You fucking kids! Fuck you! Fuck you!
They called him Santa Claus, and it was the worst thing you could ever say to this man.
Like it triggered a memory. Like whatever
Pulls
happened
a
there.
fucking gasket, and he's just like, you wonder why he has no hair. He's been fucking pulling it out.
It's the stress.
I'm sick of you and the bread knockers. Fuck you. He gets so mad that he doesn't even notice Jade takes a knife and just cuts the tire. Like she just kind of
She doesn't successfully. She's trying to.
She's like stabbing it.
Yeah.
And he veers to get away from them.
And then he just rolls his car over and it explodes
Like a cartoon. That's why I point out that it's a glassware truck, and for some reason the glassware explodes.
It's a flatbed truck being harassed by two people in Triumph motorcycles. He veered the wrong way.
You're so right. He could have
absolutely.
just taken them out so easy.
And they'd have gotten back up and went, hey!
Yeah, it would have been all a joke. But instead
They'd have laughed about it.
he's like, fucking Christmas now!
You think he came back? Because he believed?
He believed. He definitely did.
Because he wanted to die.
So then we go to Abby's room, and she comes home, and Tom's there. And she's all happy to see him, and she's like, what happened to Jane and Hinky? And he goes, well, Hinky isn't coming back because he didn't believe. I kept telling him, you gotta believe.
Yeah, he says, Hinky hesitated, so he's gone. So at that last second, he went, shit, before he hit the truck, and that means he can't come back.
And then she goes, well, where's Jane? And then he goes, she's waiting for you.
Yeah. And there she is out the window, just kind of hanging.
Literally hanging from a noose.
When we say she's hanging around, like the work and the effort has been put in, and the noose is just there, and she's just kind of hanging like dead-eyed. Then she goes like, oh, hi! And like lifts her hands up to waving.
She's hanging from a noose on a
Yeah.
tree. Like, I hope none of the neighbors saw.
Yeah, in broad daylight.
They look out, and she looks up at the window like, oh, it's me friend, I'm alive.
That was when you should have showed the ladder that she used to climb up there, because it was pretty high up.
I wanted to see
the one they stole from that shopping center.
Yeah,
I wanted to see the setup. Like, they're like, oh, this is gonna kill. Like, maybe they were just waiting. They're like, when do you think Abby's gonna get home? I got a great idea. Grab a rope. And so then we go to the cops, right? And this detective shows up. I wonder if he wrote another card game, but he's here to investigate this truck turning. And they're like, oh, we got a guy who looks like Santa Claus, rolled his car. Reindeer everywhere. And then he gets all mad and he's like, who was it? And he's like, it was that Living Dead gang again. Them are the bread knockers. We're not sure.
You see him cross another name off his list.
And the detective gets all mad. He goes, all right, this is the last time. This is a murder charge. Pull them all in. And I go, wait, whoa. What about the 5-person massacre at the bar?
We let him off with a warning.
Yeah, he's like, all right, that's it. They murdered one more person. I told them 5 was the fucking limit. Get them. So they go and they're going to arrest everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And, but later the cops are riding around. So they do arrest Abby, I believe, right?
Yes.
They go and they arrest Abby. And then they're riding around. And then the other cop, the not detective, is talking on a house phone in the car. Like, he's got like a full old-style phone up to his ear in the back seat. Like, all right.
It's like the bat phone.
This is how we do things in England. Don't ask questions. And they're talking on the phone, and then for some reason, Tom and Jade are right in front of them. Whoop! And then we watch the cops chase after them and take down a license plate. And they're like, wait, 543? No, hold on, 45. And it goes on for like 5 minutes of them trying to get this license plate. And then they just kind of follow him back to Tom's house, and he's like, oh, got him.
Guess I don't need this license plate.
So the detective goes to the house, and he's like, hey, were there some bikers that came in here? And the mom's like, no, my son's dead. And he's like,
I didn't ask you that.
Yeah. He goes, are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure there were some bikes that came in here. And she's like, nope, none here. And he's like, all right, fine. And they leave, right? But then he goes back to the car, and the cop tells him, he's like, those bikes belong to Tom and Jane. And he's like, okay, because I don't know.
Because they're dead.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, they're both dead. Part of that Living Dead gang. Kind of an ironic name, right?
Isn't it weird that nobody tried to find Jane after they saw an empty casket? Like, oh no,
Right.
She's still dead.
It wasn't until she showed back up that everyone was concerned.
If you don't think her parents had seen an empty casket before, like as a joke, that's the type of person Jane is. Like, this is just they just looked at it, they're like, God damn it, Jane. Why do you think they had the double funeral? Because they're like, there's about a 50% chance she's not dead. She's just she's fucking around again.
We're not spending the money on another funeral.
How many times do you think her parents came out and she was hanging from a tree?
I'm not gonna lie, back in high school, I'd have dated the shit out of Jane. That was my kind of girl.
That's how you would have asked her to prom? You would have been hanging from a tree?
Just a little sign around my neck that says, how about it?
So we go to the jail, right? And now Hatchet's yelling through the bars, and he's like, we're gonna kill you, pigs. And then he turns around to his gang, and he goes, we didn't do anything.
Try to tell him we're innocent.
It's not working.
This is why we don't let Hatchet speak for the team.
And then we hear a motorcycle, and Tom and Jane ride into the police station through the door. This is amazing. We have the amazing British hospitality and manners. Like...
all in one.
So they ride into this jail, and the officer behind the desk is like, all right, that's not proper now. Come on.
He's gonna like write them tickets as they're still revving.
Surely
the
they
engine.
communicate on the higher plane.
Get off them bikes. What are you doing? And then this lady that was in the police station is walking out. She goes, would you like me to shut the door?
And in this moment, I don't know if she's out of character. Like, I feel like that was just the
Right?
extra was asking,
Yeah.
like, you want me to shut this?
But she says it so polite to the cop. She's like, you want this shut? And he goes, yeah, yes, please.
Please, thank you. Yes, quite.
And so
Now to the matter of these motorcycles. Yes.
So they're revving their motorcycles, and he's like, all right, what your names?
Give me your name so I can put them on this ticket.
And they make up their names. They're like, my name's there. And he's like, all right, come on now. Let's get serious. Give me the names. And then they tell him. And he's like, all right,
It's in Churchill.
what's your address? And he's just sitting there writing it all down. Like he's going to believe him, by the way.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
believing the whole thing. You're going to be in real trouble.
You ring me, mum.
And then basically we just see Tom drives into the jail, and he's like, hey, Abby, you going to come with me and die? She's like, yeah, I guess, if you're going to get me out of jail.
And he takes a moment. They kiss between the bars. It's all very sweet, very young love. And apparently the cops just give him this moment.
Yeah.
Like, no one's coming in going, hey. You apparently just walk into this prison and make out with a prisoner.
Well, he did. He was like, what? All right. I'll wait till he's done. You're going to be in real trouble when you get back up to the front, son. There's only one exit out of here.
He turns to the cop. He's like, young love.
So we cut to
We've all been
later. So this is bizarre, right? We don't ever see what happens, which I really wish we would have.
Theater of the mind.
Because we just cut to later, and there's two dead cops on the ground, right? So the guy behind the desk and another cop had walked in. And then the detective's looking at him like, oh, God, not again. We're boiling it down to those two gangs. We're still not sure who it was. But now we got a new culprit. Somebody who can rip the holes of the jail cells off.
It looked like an animal escape.
Yeah,
more
like
than
I said earlier, it's like when the raptors escape in
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
It's
or
like-
like the Hulk.
Yeah, all
Like
they had to do
somebody-
was actually bend the bar. I don't know. And I
Like
wish
instead of using the keys, like they couldn't
From
find
the dead
it.
cop they just took out.
Yeah, right.
Who probably has the key ring.
Yeah.
we're just trying to establish that they're very strong.
Unbelievably strong. And
Yeah.
at this point, Tom and Jane are strong.
So they've ripped holes into the jail cells, and everybody's gone. And the detective's like, ugh, well, what are we going to do now?
We're going to have to get new balls.
Then we go to the city. Love this. So Dead Meat, the guitar man.
Chop meat.
Chop Meat. He's about to be Dead Meat. Pulls up to an apartment building, and he sees a window, and he's like, that looks nice. Because at this point, they're still on with Tom's suicide pact. Like, Hillbop is coming. They've all agreed to go.
And it's time for our montage.
They're all about to be room temperature.
Oh, this is the best part of the whole movie.
This is one of the reasons I love this movie, is this segment.
But so Chop Meat parks his bike and he puts his guitar there. And
Very
then,
neatly, like takes off his helmet.
Yeah.
Puts his guitar down.
Yeah.
And then some bird comes up. Again, one of the empty box crew. So she's got a lot of empty boxes in her hands. And she's like, oh, what? Is that your bike? And he's like, yeah, it is. And then he looks over and Jade and Tom are looking at him like, yeah, not now, buddy.
Yeah.
It's this amazing cock block that happens because
Yeah.
he's all ready to pursue her, and they just give him the mm-mm.
They're like sitting on a hill on their bikes,
Just shaking their heads
across
slowly.
like a football field in the street away, and like, no, you're not getting laid
Yeah.
before you kill yourself.
Judges? Mm-mm. Nope.
And so Chop Meat walks into that building, and then this great part where a cop comes up and he's like, oh, whose bike is this? And then the window to the apartment opens, and Chop Meat's like, that's mine.
You there! He's all, come down here.
And he goes, okay, and then just jumps out of the window.
And if you notice the slow-mo, the stuntman overturns.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this dude broke his legs. Like,
Oh,
I don't know
big
what
time.
the landing situation was, but this dude landed feet first. I hope he landed like an Iron Man.
Superhero landing.
Yeah.
It's okay, this is my favorite death, though, is... We go from the building to a man who's chained himself up.
We haven't mentioned this guy at all yet. This member of the gang is named Gash.
Okay, I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Yeah, it's Gash.
By
he
the
has
way-
like no dialogue in this movie. He's just standing with the rest of the gang.
Are you sure he even comes back?
Do we see?
No. I don't think he comes back. Because think of it. Do you even see Tom and Jane
Well, I think
anywhere?
he came back, but he's so weighted down by all the...
Oh, he
he's-
does come back. Because he's the only guy in his underwear later. But you don't see Tom or Jane. You just see a man who's chained himself up like the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah.
or something.
Like he's doing like some Houdini escape trick.
I don't know. I feel like Tom and Jane see him. He's stripped down to his skivvies, and he's wrapped himself in chains. They're like, this dude's not going to second guess this. This dude's all in.
Yeah.
We don't even have to shake our heads at him. He's not going to look back.
But the funniest thing is I read about this, like, first of all, I don't see Jane or Tom, right? Did he even tell them? Also, what a pain in the ass getting this guy out of the lake. Like, he's chained himself up. He must weigh like hundreds of pounds. And he's just like,
And
all right.
How do they even check that he came back? Like, they have to dive down and, like, shake him real quick and see
Yeah.
if he gives them the thumbs up.
I would have liked if they just showed him like drifting away, like into some other body of water. Like now he is like in Antarctica.
Like that Wolverine ending?
Yeah.
With the rebar. Like, he's down at the bottom there like Jason. With the
Yeah,
rock
he
and
is.
the chain around his neck.
So he's just at the bottom of some river. I guess somebody finds him.
The Thames.
Then we go to an airplane, okay?
And now we're getting Bertram's suicide.
I like this one.
Okay, this
This
one,
is how
though,
I
doesn't
do
make
it.
any sense. Because this man, okay,
We watch people in an airplane. They're getting ready to jump out and have a
Skydive.
skydiving event.
Yeah, we're going to have a great jump today.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great jump. And we see one person jump, and we see two people jump, and then we see this, and then we see Bertram step out holding his thing and like showing the instructor, hey, I didn't hook up, and jumps out with a parachute on. And
he
then,
does have a parachute? I thought he didn't have a parachute.
No, he was showing that he didn't hook it to
Yeah.
release.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish he would have done it without a parachute, but then at
Oh,
that
right.
time they didn't have the technology to catch somebody.
Oh, you're right. So, because it's funny because the instructor looks at him like, not again. Like, he's just like, we always have one. There's always one that comes up here. We really should start checking mental states before we take their... we took their money. Fuck it.
Always pay up front.
Yeah.
Gas station guy.
But I was upset about this Hughes because I said I love this death, but at the same time, I feel like he'd be in pieces.
I don't know. So my question is whether they're killing themselves. Does the state of their body that they died in carry over to their afterlife?
I was like, for this guy's sake, I hope not.
What about the guy that jumped out of the building face first too?
Well,
It's the same
you're right.
thing.
I guess they both hit terminal velocity.
Like I
the
think
ground.
the drowning guy got it right, and I think I think Abby did it in a smart way if she would have actually gone through with it.
Yeah, well, I like Tom's. Just land in a
Tom's is
soft
fine.
water.
Just a
That'll
nice
fairly
little dive, little splash.
So
Let the kids pull you out.
yeah,
Open casket funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but this one's also one of the best. Hatchet, right? The wild card. He just pulls up to a bridge and he just kind of like looks over, puts his foot up, looks over, and you see Jane and Tom, and they do this great wave where they just both put their hands up like, "Hey."
See you in a minute.
He waves back at him, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just goes face first, like just
drops.
in front of a truck.
Just in time to get swatted by a windshield.
Yeah.
But it's great because you just cut to him under the wheels of a truck.
And a big old smile on his face.
It's like, oh, he's dreaming about running through a field or something.
Oh, Hatchet believed. He believed.
You know he believed.
And then we see Abby, and so she's left a suicide note for her mother and taken a whole bottle of pills, and she's just going to die in her bed. I wrote, she has the right idea. We fade into some drug-induced dream she's having where she walks around Minihenge, and like Tom picks her up on a bike, and then he drops her off, and she watches her body be rolled into a morgue by herself in a nurse outfit, and then a man with the frog pendant and a ring starts to cut her open.
Yeah.
Cut to, she wakes up in a hospital. She didn't die.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you just take like a big bottle of vitamins or something?
Flintstones vitamins.
How many does it take to make this happen?
The mom was like, she's just not a really smart girl. The detective's there and he's like, hey, why'd you want to die? And then we cut to see all the dead bikers in the morgue, right? And
on display.
Yeah.
In like this kind of weird morgue.
This is pretty
aquarium.
This is like where like Japanese travelers sleep. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like those tube hotels, in the train stations. Is they have like apparently clear morgue cases for these people, which
I
is
guess
odd.
so. Yeah.
It's like typically I think they put them in. Also, it's not a very convenient, like not an effective use of space.
No,
they put them horizontally,
Yeah.
like going across the wall instead of just pushing them into the wall.
Yeah, they're kind of on display.
Yeah,
it's
almost,
very
well,
strange.
it really reminds me of those Japanese hotel
yeah. What I say.
pods you can buy.
Yeah.
Rent, yeah.
And so we got to see them all there. Also, they're all in their uniforms except for the one guy in his underwear, the drowned guy, right? And then these old guys bring him, the underwear man, onto this examining table. And one of them's like, all right, I'm going to go make oh, no, his wife calls or something. He's like, hey, your wife's on the phone. And so he walks out, and this one guy's left. And he hears this knocking. And he looks over, and Hatchet's just knocking on his door. and he opens it up. And then the other doctor walks back in, and the other guy's dead, and all the guys have broken out. And there's also a pair of swim trunks and a syringe full of water on the door.
Yeah, was that the syringe was like stabbed into the door?
Yeah, because the one guy, like, I left it out, but he, like, basically, he's like, oh, I think he drowned. We found him in the bottom of a lake. Let me see if he has water in his lungs. And then he takes it out and he goes, oh, he drowned. It's like, yeah, I think a guy in the bottom of the lake probably drowned, but that just
and
might
they wanted
be
to
me.
save the water. It was weird, yeah.
Well, it's a classic rub-out scenario. You kill the guy, throw him in a lake.
Right.
Leave a bike next
And leave a bike in the water.
I'd leave a bike. So then we go to Tom's house. Tom calls the hospital, and the detective answers and says Abby died. And he's dancing around the room. He's like, "It's the happiest day of my life. I'm gonna be with Abby forever." And his mom's all mad, and she's like, "Well, what are you gonna do next?" And it's like, "Well, I think we know what he's gonna do next. He's just gonna fuck with the elderly for all eternity."
Of course. He lists off like the things he needs to do. He says there's policemen, judges, teachers, preachers, do-gooders. There's lots to be done.
So many mailboxes, so many loaves of bread, so many cones, so many empty boxes.
Break up the establishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
One empty box at a time. So we go to the hospital, and the detective tells Abby, he's like, "Well, I told him you're dead so we can set a trap. Oh, by the way, will you be in the trap?" He didn't even get a commitment from her. He's like, "Oh, I should have asked you this before I called. Are you willing to play along?"
Just so we're clear, are you with this gang?
Yeah, because he says to her, he's like, "Wait, do you love that guy?"
No, I thought it was like she was going to be bait for body catchers or body snatchers. They didn't actually think Tom was doing it. It was just thought people were stealing bodies.
Really?
Yeah. That's...
I believe so, yeah. I think it's more accurate.
Oh my God! So he
The
still
police
hasn't...
haven't figured out the whole satanic plot yet.
Oh my God! So they really are just bumbling fucking idiots.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh,
I don't think there's a lot of evidence for them to figure this out yet.
we keep hearing about them living dead gang, but we really, really, really think it might be them bread knockers. We're not sure."
What's funny is they seem to be under the impression that they know exactly who are the members of the Living Dead because it never occurs to them that there could be more members. All we know is that members of the Living Dead are committing all these crimes.
Yeah, but now they're convinced it's some sort of body snatching scheme.
It has to be.
So they're like, "Oh, by the way, Abby, will you be one of the people, like, they might steal your body for a little bit, but don't worry, they won't do much with you, I guess." Is they're gonna, like, set up some sting.
Yeah, and like Abby is now over Tom, right? And she just wants to move on with her life.
Yeah, she says something about how...
This has all been too much for her.
She's like, if you don't love someone anymore and you want to leave them, should you tell them? And I write, when did this happen? I guess, between them Flintstone vitamins coma... and breakfast, she decided, she's like,
She lives for Shadwell now.
Yeah.
And so we go to the morgue. The trap is set, right? Or so we think. And by the way, this is one of the most confusing shots. It's good when you know what actually happens, but the first time I watched it, I was like, what the fuck? So who wants to explain it? Like
there's a way to explain this. I this is what I have written, unless man has something
Go for it.
clearer. I just have that Tom is filling the morgue with police. Abby is missing, and Abby is back, and Tom thinks she's immortal. That's all I have for this whole thing.
The shot in the morgue is
like...
like...
it just pans around, and...
Abby's on the table,
Yeah.
and all the cops are standing.
Yeah. So I'd laughed at the one cut with the billy club just kind of slapping it on his hand for no reason at all. I'm like, what? Okay, is he trying to like make her stay like you'll get a walloping if you move?
No, he's trying to understand how the bread knockers work.
He's working on the bread knocker case the whole time. He's like,
yeah, we get this weird 360 pan, and we pan back, and now for some reason all the officers are now in the morgue boxes, and she's gone.
Yeah.
It's like the Flash showed up.
Yeah,
so they're all like immediately died within seconds. They
Yeah.
also shoved them into those morgue containers, and they took Abby.
Because I'm like, oh, maybe Abby did this then? In my mind, I'm like, wait, what if Abby is dead and she did this herself and she was just leading them on to get away?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
I thought I wrote it's a cool shot, but very confusing.
Very.
Yeah. So now they have super strength and super speed.
Yeah.
So then we go the Living Dead ride. They ride around the highway, and Abby's like, "Hey Tom, we need to talk," and he's like, "Not now. We have all the time in the world." They go into town, and of course, with all the time in the world, what do?
They start tearing up a supermarket.
It's awesome. They crash right through the front window of the grocery store and start going up and down the aisles.
So they just drive through the store, causing all sorts of a ruckus, right? And I guess they're going to spend all eternity sort of just knocking things over.
Well, they're shithead teenagers. This is as deep as they can get with their plans.
But did you get to the coup de grace?
Yeah, when Jane looks at Abby and says, "Watch this." "Oh, Abby, watch this."
Oh, what are you doing now? We're going to see a buggy.
A pram.
A surrey, a pram with a child in it. With
Presumably.
Yeah, presumably. Oh, there's a kid. There's a kid in there. It's not a break of loaves of bread on this one. There's a kid in there.
It's not the old bread knocker switch.
Yeah, let's not knock some bread around here.
The old bread and switch. And this motorbike is not going to go careening down this aisleway straight into this pram, if you will, and then he crashes into like the end of like the aisle.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
amazing. 'Cause it's clearly not intentional.
Yeah.
It's just the stunt person's just like, oh shit, and it just like hits the butcher case. At the end.
Totally.
Yeah, we see the stunt person run over a baby carriage like at full speed and then right into a meat counter.
Just Bronx Warriors, that thing at the end. Just, oh no!
And then there's all sorts of just like cans flying everywhere and mayhem. And then Abby asks Tom, she's like, "Well, what do we do now?" And Tom goes, I've always fancied driving through a brick wall. How about you?" And she goes, why not? And so then they go back to Tom's house, and he's like, "All right, I'll take the left, you take the right." And he just goes straight through that wall.
Now, I've got a couple things about this.
Yeah.
All right.
About this wall break. You may notice there's a continuity error here. He breaks through the wall, and then in the very next shot as he's driving, there's no hole in the wall behind him.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then a little bit of behind-the-scenes trivia. Nicky Henson's stuntman, I didn't write down his name, unfortunately. Apologies to him. Kind of missed the hole that was perforated in this wall
Jesus.
and seriously injured himself.
Oh, wow.
So when they first did the stunt,
But did he
the
believe?
bike made it through and he didn't. Like a Japanese game show. Just
Bobby,
Yeah.
did he believe, though?
he needed to. And I think he hesitated.
He
And now
hesitated.
he's gone.
He hesitated.
The director standing over him, and he's like, "You gotta believe! You gotta believe!"
Get us another
They
one.
yelled at his unconscious body.
"Oh, this is my last movie." And Abby doesn't go through the wall, and then he looks at her. He's all pissed. He's giving her the eye. He's like, "Yeah, what happened?" And she goes, "Me back wheel skidded." And he goes, "Liar, you're not dead." And she's like, "Well, you got me. But I was trying to tell you that. I don't want to die." And then the other bikers show up, right? And then we just go inside. The mom's talking to Shadwell, and she's like, "We got to stop this." And Shadwell's like, "But you signed that lease."
And Mom's basically solving this by asking for a refund.
Yeah, she's like, "Well, you know what? I'm going to break that lease." And he's like, "All right, well, oh my God."
But, there's a cost.
This is a tough lease to break. So we go to Minihenge, and then Tom's like, "All right, Abby, you either coming with us or we're going to get rid of you."
You got 3 minutes to decide.
Yeah, you got 3 minutes, and he hands her a handgun, right? And he's like, "Well, if you don't kill yourself, we will."
And we're cutting between this and back home.
Yeah.
with the breaking of the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, okay, so the breaking of a lease in this, in Britain.
You have to light black candles.
Yeah,
in a
explain to me
circle.
how you break a lease in the UK.
Well, as Man mentioned, you got to light some black candles.
Yeah.
Apparently, you need the sword from He-Man.
Satin curtains.
Yeah, satin curtains.
A frog.
Yeah, we need a frog
We need
on
a
a
frog.
table. At one point, they're joining hands over the crystal ball. We got some force lightning going on.
You also need the biggest book you can find in the house.
Yes.
Because they got like the fucking Torah on the table
Yeah.
here. And like Shadwell's reading something from it, or maybe not. He's just kind of like looking it over. And we just cut between this seance lease break and mini henge. And we just cut back at one point, and Abby's just shooting Tom in the chest over and over, just like emptying the full revolver.
And
into
there's
him.
no squibs. It's just she's firing a cap gun, and he's just trying to stare at her. It's like he's a ghost.
It's a great shot because she's just shooting him. She's like, and he's just standing there like, no.
Don't feel a thing.
Nope.
Oh, right in the meat pie.
So then we just go. Okay, at one point, then Shadwell like picks up the sword and like hands it to the mom, and then like wind starts and it gets all windy, and then the mom like disappears, and then we cut back to the graveyard.
I think it's implied that Mom became the frog.
Became the frog.
Like her soul went into that frog.
And all those frogs are people that broke promises with the devil.
And that's why there's a frog on the toy necklace.
Yeah.
We're just not familiar with this British magic.
You know, I think we'd understand it more if we were British.
It's a magical place.
Somebody's gonna call in and be like, "It had nothing to do with Satan. It was all druid stuff." And you're like, "Fuck you! It doesn't fucking matter. This movie doesn't make any sense."
I don't know. I think we got to the bottom of it.
And so basically, it ends with all the biker gangs and Tom turning into mini henge.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
In that it's shit, but it's kind of awesome.
Oh, it's a very bad effect.
Superimposed, kind of shaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all turn into these rock formations, and Abby's the only one left alive, and she's screaming and all this. And then Shadwell shows up, and he's like, oh, time for another lease.
Them's the breaks.
And that's the
credits.
movie.
Yeah.
Hit that awesome acid rock again.
Mm-hmm.
Recommendations?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
go with
say
it, yeah.
100%. Love
Yeah.
this movie.
Uh-huh.
It definitely has some flaws, but it's great. Bobby?
It's such a fun time. Like, yeah, it's crap. I'll acknowledge that, but it's really, really entertaining crap. It's exactly the kind of movie I love.
Yeah.
Nope, do not watch it. This movie sucks. It's not worth a watch.
Bless your heart, Hughes.
So Hugh's not even with the British magic or anything?
No, I don't care about this movie.
Would you have preferred a movie about the bread knockers?
Yes. I would have preferred a movie that took the same premise and then did something with it.
Yeah, well, I could see that. I mean, it has a great idea, and it doesn't really follow through with it. It gets all mixed up with toads and everything else, and
a really weak love story that means nothing to the movie. And
done right, this could have been an amazing movie, and it still is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I seriously would love to see somebody remake this.
Yeah,
This
they needed
is
to go.
dying
a lot
for
of
a
fun.
remake.
They needed to go back, further on the backstory of the frogs and
Shadwell,
yeah.
Bring in the bread knockers.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little diversion
A
going.
little gang rivalry.
Yeah, a gang war.
Yeah.
Motorcycle versus bread.
And they drive through. They just drive through a wall of bread.
Now, do the bread knockers come back as well?
As
Let's brainstorm this sequel.
as gingerbreadmen.
Does the dough rise?
If you break that bread leash, you come back as a baguette. It's a very painful existence.
Or do we see Shadwell in a baker's hat? Offering a deal at the bakery?
Do you hear that sound? How do you guys think Bobby and DeVito would fit into the world of Psychomania? Bobby, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, I think I can see it. Shortly after Shadwell takes off, I think we pan over and we see DeVito patting the last bit of dirt on the ground next to an orange poof. Because he didn't make a deep enough hole.
Did they bury the whole van?
Yeah, the van's under there too. And he's like, I'm telling you, Bobby, this is gonna work. Nothing can stop us. And then he points over, and there's Sammy John sitting against a tree, strumming the guitar
With the lamp?
Yeah.
with a lamp next to him.
He's actually strumming a lamp.
And they're all gonna go and they're all gonna ride together. I love it.
I could see. What was the girl that's swinging from the news?
Jane.
Jane. I could see when she's dead. I see Bobby and DeVito like swatting at her. It's like a pinata trying to get her down. Get it down, Bobby. That's the only thing I could see happen, other than them checking the warm bodies left behind.
That's exactly where I thought this would go.
I could see some sort of like scenario where DeVito is like, Bobby, I just got back from England. I got this crazy thing where apparently if somebody kills themselves and they truly believe it, they can come back. And he's like, oh, should we kill ourselves, DeVito? He's like, no, Bobby, let's get ourselves a whore.
Roll credits.
And we never really find... No, he goes, Bobby, I just got back from the UK. I got myself a little bit of an accent, too. And Bobby, guess what? There's this gang over there called the Bread Knockers.
I want to make a Bread Knocker shirt.
Seriously.
Hughes, what do you think?
What do you mean, what do I think? No, we're done.
You don't think Bobby DeVito would ever fit into this?
No, they would go into the drive-in with women and putting this movie on, and the movie's so bad that they actually get laid.
Wow. So a real meta experience is that what we see,
pan out of the screen.
What we see is Bobby DeVito going to see Psychomania in the U.S. and then like, hey, DeVito, this movie...
so they're seeing the Death Wheelers.
Yeah, they're seeing the Death Wheelers and he goes, hey, DeVito, this movie really sucks. And he's like, Bobby, shut up. I'm using the bed right now. You could say it blows, huh? Oh, well, thank you for joining us for another Grindbin. Sorry to the UK audience we've lost.
Yes.
Our big, ugly American mouths have offended yet again. Sorry.
We look forward to your tweets.
God.
I actually have a lot of British relatives.
Not anymore, you don't.
Good.
No, they still do.
Yeah?
And I apologize. I'm sorry. Fucking blimey bastards.
Long head gits.
You can find us, grindhousefilm.com. Twitter, we're at GrindPod. Instagram, the Grindbin Podcast. And we're on Facebook, the Grindbin Podcast. You got anything to plug, Hughes? You want to plug something on this episode?
Nope.
Man will be on tour. Well, he's on tour right now. While this episode is airing,
Yep.
I think Chris Mann is out of the country.
Yeah.
So you can see him. Go find him. Actually, he might be in the UK.
You might be right.
Hey, Grindbin listeners. What a week. Huh? What a week. Yeah,
Christ.
so, you know, that's
There's
life.
There's that.
So everybody, if you truly believe, we'll all see you on the other side.
Bobby, swat the corpse.
ain't got no field coach.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
Los Angeles. You could have looked decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy wouldn't have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.